Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, sunny Tuesday afternoon, 4 p.m. BST. Joining me today is Anthony Lee. We're just waiting on Brandon Young and, of course, Liran Hirschkorn. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. So today we're going to be talking about a recent email. Liran broke the story the other day with regards to a representative that works for Amazon, one of their private label brands received a negative review, and so they reached out. So what I'll do is I'll quickly pull up now the message to give a bit of context of what's going on. So you can see this on Liran's wall as well. So Blink from Home Support, the email came from. It says, "Hi, my name is ... I'm an Amazon executive representative specialized in Blink devices. I noticed from your Amazon review, which is now blanked out, that you're having some concerns with your Blink device. I'm committed to resolving these concerns for you in a timely fashion and would like to thank you for your patience. I know your time is very valuable to you. I understand the importance of having a home security device working properly. I'm here to help. If possible, could you provide the email address that your Blink app is under? This will help me to figure out what may be happening from the logs," and I say logs, "and we'll definitely be able to assist you. Or if you'd like to schedule a call, please click on the link below." So love to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, is it really a surprise though?
Oh, of course not. It's not a surprise. But could you imagine if we rocked up and said, "Here, let's schedule a call. Here's my Calendly link. Let's have a chat." Yeah.
So there's a couple of different things that need to be pointed out about that. For starters, Amazon has had to face Senate committees over some of their unfair marketing practices. I mean, they're constantly being called into question. So these guys are very aggressive to the point where they're pushing legal boundaries.
Yeah.
So this isn't going to stop. The second thing to point out, though, is one of the main reasons we can't do stuff like that is because we aren't able to communicate with these buyers via email. We have to communicate with them via Amazon's messaging system, where they control the terms as far as what we're allowed to communicate with buyers. They, on the other hand, because remember, these are their customers, they have the ability to send whatever they want through email. So it is important for us to realize that distinction.
Yeah. So Brandon just joined us now. Have you read the message that was on Liran's wall, Brandon? Are you up to speed on what's going on here?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Hold back. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that there's first I want to say, like, are we 100% sure that that person legitimately works for Amazon? Like, because that would be an incredible thing given given where they're at and what they're doing.
Yeah.
But we're not 100% sure that that person really does work for Amazon. Like, it could just be a third-party company claiming to work for Amazon.
This is very true. It says here, Blink from Home Support. I am an Amazon executive representative specialized in Blink devices.
Yeah, it's possible that they work for the brand and that they're just trying to make it seem more official, which is far more likely, I imagine. So I don't know that with all the trouble Amazon has had, I don't know that they would be doing something like this. But if they are, then it's pushing.
But wouldn't it be
important to point out, though? Hold on. I think it's important to point out that even if Amazon didn't write that email, clearly they provided the email address. They didn't make them do it through the messaging system. They gave them their customer list. So, they're implicated in the whole process regardless.
But wouldn't it be a smarter move to have a third party you could throw under the bus? So you remove it from Amazon. If it was coming directly from Amazon, there's two plays there, right? So either it's come from Amazon and it's closely connected, but no one's going to ever know this, right? But we do have a copy of an email that's been sent. We don't have any verification other than it's been sent. It's been passed to Liran. Liran's put it up. It looks pretty legit. Liran wouldn't just stick stuff out there if he didn't think it was solid.
So, Anthony, is it possible that when you sell certain products on Amazon, that you get email addresses to follow up because you have to provide additional materials or software or updates or something, like from a customer perspective? Or secondly, is it possible that Liran had signed up himself with his email because it's a security system and he needed to activate something, so they had it that way? We need to ask Liran that.
We'd have to ask him, but you know, like before you got on the call, though, I was talking to Danny about how, you know, Amazon's been called before Senate committees regularly for unfair marketing practices as it is. So this, I mean, it's not out of the realm, especially something as innocuous as this. Like, you know, are they really going to be called before the Senate to talk about the fact that they email people who leave them reviews? Probably not, because they're currently being, you know, facing far heftier accusations, and constantly do so, because I'm convinced that you can't become a billionaire in the United States unless you are ridiculously aggressive and push the line when it comes to how you grow. So
yeah, there is the aspect of having to match the negative review with the other company. I'll get my camera back in a second, sorry. But there is that aspect of, like, they have to match the review, and you know that there's a lot of black hat services out there that provide that service as well.
Yeah.
What I think is even more egregious than something like this is the fact that when we launch a new product right now, they're giving us a 200 quantity limit. Right. And I guarantee you that any brand owned by Amazon and any Amazon Basics product is not restricted to quantity limits right now.
No, that's definitely far more egregious, because that is a much bigger that has a much bigger impact on small businesses. Like, seriously, I am dealing with this situation right now. I have a client in Taiwan. They have to send a certain amount of goods because, you know, it's not like hundreds of units a day. So send it in. I had no idea that their stuff was going to be limited. And then here we are trying to send in all this inventory. And then Amazon's like, oh yeah, you have 1,200 units, but we're only suggesting that you send in 135. So like on the fly, I have to go find a 3PL. And
all the 3PLs are filling up very quickly because of this.
So, well, I agree. I think that's terrible, but I don't know. It might end up shooting them in the foot, though, because all that's going to do is enable all these sellers to start looking at other marketplaces.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to push people to other marketplaces and other opportunities, because why not? You have the stuff ready to ship at 3PLs. And secondly, it's going to have many of their best sellers are going to run out of stock this year. It's usually tough to keep stock in place during Q4 anyway, but this is going to make it much more difficult. And I think that it's going to end up costing them money, because people are going to not want inferior products. And if they're looking for specific brands and people that have built up brand awareness, they're going to look for them in other marketplaces or other places to buy them.
Yep. Are you looking at the sign up process here?
No. This is their website. Look what it says at the bottom. Blink, an Amazon company.
Yeah.
So there's probably, you know, it could be, again, full of shit, but obviously it's on the website. It's got Amazon's logo there as well. So
having worked for companies in this space, I can tell you that Amazon absolutely lets you know that you're not allowed to have that logo without their permission.
I mean, 100% they have to be an Amazon company if they're promoting this way.
I know, but what I'm trying to do is take off the table there, because obviously it's been graded out in that email who it's from, where it's from, and they use the word representative, right? And it doesn't show a sign off at Amazon at the bottom, you know, in Seattle or anything. So I just gone to the website. So it's obviously an Amazon-based company. They've reached out to resolve a problem. It does indicate that it's a technical problem, like, you know, with the guarantees and stuff like that. Obviously, people want to help resolve stuff, and it's probably dancing along the line somewhere. So it's just I wanted to bring this into play.
Yeah, Business Insider reported on February 12th, 2018, that Amazon bought camera maker Blink for $90 million.
Yeah.
So it's 100% their company. Yeah, cool. So they are giving them information that we don't have access to, obviously. If someone leaves a negative review, we don't have their contact information as a third-party seller.
Okay. I don't know much about politics, but you can step in here as well, Brandon. What's your take? Anthony's just said with Congress and everything else. Where do you think that leaves Amazon when they're doing things like this? And
Yeah, I mean,
if the press was
clearly,
to get hold of it as well.
well, it's clearly antitrust. I mean, it's something that they should get in trouble for. I'm a firm believer that Amazon needs to be broken up into a minimum of 3 or 4 companies. You have, obviously their content side. You have their servers side, right? And then you have their third party, like, well, what would it be? Their actual marketplace, and then you have their brands. And I think all of those should be separate companies, just to avoid any type of favoritism or antitrust.
Yeah.
And each of those would be tremendously huge companies. I mean, think about like each of their the combined total of their brands is probably trillions of dollars. We could figure that out ourselves, right? Because if they claim that it's 45% of total revenue, what is their total revenue and sales on Amazon? We know exactly what their sales are for the companies that they own or have interest in.
Yeah.
And so it's quite a large company that they would have there. And then they have their marketplace, which is obviously, one of the biggest drivers. And then you have the content with their cable network and all that stuff that they do, the satellite. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tremendous. It should be probably at least 4 companies that you could break Amazon into, and then it would avoid a lot of problems. Yeah,
I'm just going to go to the comments here. Yelchin says, hello, fantastic guys. Facebook user says hello. Tiffany says, what's going on? Facebook user says, hi guys, can we not increase the limit of FBA with a request? We'll get into that in a bit. Tiff says, everything is owned by Amazon, don't you know, Danny? Shane Myers, exactly what we were talking about. And then Steve Kong asking the question here, obviously double standards potentially. But so what? What happens now? Will anything really happen? So what is the prediction from you guys?
Nothing. I don't think anything is going to happen. Like, I agree with Brandon that it should be broken up, but we got Congress people attending galas at Jeff Bezos' house.
Yeah,
like these guys are in bed. It's that'd be like somebody coming up to you and being like, "Hey, your buddy over there, your friend, your pal that supports you, go convince him to sell off X amount of his assets." Like I don't see it happening. It's America. That's just, America, the free to be corrupt, I guess. I don't know. We're not getting into the politics of that, but that's my opinion.
Cool. Right. I'll read this out again because there's people who've joined the show. My name is not M&M. I am an Amazon executive representative specialized in Blink services. I noticed from your review, that you're having some concerns with your Blink device. I'm committed to resolve these concerns for you in a timely fashion and would like to thank you for your patience. I know your time is valuable to you. I understand the importance of having home security devices working properly, and I'm here to help. If possible, could you provide the email address that your Blink app is under? This will help me figure out what may be happening from the logs and will definitely be able to assist. Or would you like to schedule a call below? Please click below. Liran's put on his wall says, what happens if you leave a 1-star review of an Amazon-owned product, Blink security camera owned by Amazon, ? You get contacted by Amazon representative, which under normal circumstances seemed like a good customer service, except Amazon sellers are not allowed to do this and most often don't have the contact info. And he's put there, obviously, double standards. He's just on a client call and he'll be joining us soon. While we're waiting, what you boys up to over the next few weeks? Brandon, last time I spoke to you, you were screwing about these extra storage costs and stuff with the limits. Is there any changes on your end?
Unfortunately, there aren't much changes. I think that maybe some of our limits went up to 400 units. It's absolutely insane when we're considering that we're going to probably be selling 250 units a day of some of our products that we launch, and they're giving us a day and a half in some cases, or less than a day of inventory in others.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a lot less business than we wanted to this year. It's costing us money. It's going to cost Amazon money. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
But do you think there'll be any changes? They'll lighten the load. I know it's going to be a bit late because of backlog, but do you think they'll loosen up nearer the date? Maybe they'll bring, because they've been talking about employing more staff, and they always do leading up to Christmas. But do you think there's an opportunity where maybe they slacken off, but just a bit too late, leaving everyone in a bit of a log jam, if you like?
Yeah, if they do that, it kind of sucks that they didn't let us know they were going to do that, because, we've already cut back a lot of our products. Like I had, I probably had 50 products that I was going to launch, and now I'm only going to launch 35 of them. And now, so I've actually just cut out doing 15 additional products. It just sucks. Like if they were going to do that, they need to give us warning. A lot of my stuff's already on the sea or arriving right now for Q4. Like you can't ship it by sea. You have a holiday in China starting for 7 or 9 days, and then you've got boats that leave in October, but those won't get here until the season. So like you're already late at that point. So like if your stuff's not on the water this week, you're probably late for Q4.
Yeah. Another question for you. It's interesting because there's not many people out there will go, you know what, let's launch 50 products. I mean, I know that this is going to go beyond the scope of this show, but just the top line, how do you get to decide, yeah, this is a really good idea, I'm going to launch 50 products? I mean, how do you streamline that with so many moving parts going on?
Yeah, the biggest part of our business the last year and a half has been building the team to handle that, right? So if you think about a funnel where we've got product discovery and validation, and then that moves into sample ordering, and that's handled. So product discovery and validation is handled by me over here on this side. My team might have good ideas. My wife might have, like my wife handles some of that with me. But then the Chinese team will actually handle the sourcing, the samples, the quality, the customization, that side of it. So if it looks good on our end, and then they can source it at a at the proper profit margin, then it's a go pretty much at that point, as long as quality is met. So then they're responsible at that point for finding the right factories, customizing, doing all of that. Artwork is done over there. We have most of our SKUs actually managed by our employees in China now as well. So they handle PPC, maintenance, growth. I do launches on this end. So launches and product discovery are pretty much the only thing we're doing in America now. And so marketing and product discovery.
I know there's no hard and fast rules, but with 50 products, how many factories are you working with across those? Are you got 2 or 3 and you can go deep into the factory, or are you scattered everywhere?
No, we do have quite a few factories that we work with. But what's great is once you find a good factory, so we're releasing. We have a few toy brands this year that we're releasing. We just are getting into wood. We've mostly only done plastic before, but we found 3 wooden factories that we are doing at least 15 SKUs from 3 different factories. So once you actually find a factory, you could say, what else do you have? And then they might kick back the catalog to me for additional validation. So it's that's always good too.
Yeah. Anthony, what have you been working on at the moment? We haven't had you on the show so much recently. You've had your head down. You've got a new baby as well. He's growing now. How old's the little one now?
She's 7 months.
Yeah. So it always clashes. Your 8 a.m., I think it is, with the 4 p.m. and your night feeds is restricted to you coming on the show. So what's been going on with you with the new business? Do you want to give us a rendition there?
I've just been working with developers trying to get out some MVPs. Also working on creating a system so I personally am not launching all these products, but like that system that Brandon just talked about, my partner is building that out, and so I'm helping with the launch side of that and a lot of the branding stuff. And so basically it's just a bunch of SOPs and research and building out launch proposals, and talking to the development team. That's literally every day of my life. At some point I get to write an article. I already got the next one in mind. I just when.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do have time for TikTok. I see your TikTok on a regular basis. So I am subscribed.
That's part of the process, though. The whole thing is elevate your personal brand, and that's where I have the biggest audience. So that's where I'm doing that too. So
Oh, well, I remember when you first come on, you was 30 or 28 days in, and I think you were up to about 3,000 followers, and you were committed to posting every day. Do you want to tell the audience how many you got now?
62,000, 63,000.
62,000. And I think that was March, April time you started, didn't you?
I actually started January 17th.
Right. Okay. But then when did you start doing 7 days? Are you still doing 7 days now? But there was a point you was at it every day.
It was actually 7 days from the start, and I've recently pared it back to about 5 or 6, just because you gotta develop a special personality trait to deal with commenters on any social media platform. Sometimes I need a day off from that.
So have you been heavily trolled?
Not heavily, thankfully. My audience isn't big enough for that yet. But every now and again I notice on social media that people, even when they're wrong, they're very, very convinced that they're educating you on facts. Yeah. And that's
at some point you just can't, you just say, that's fine. I'm glad, you just have to respect their opinion and say, move on. Just engaging with them isn't even worth it.
But again, it depends on the level of trolling. If it's pure abuse versus having a conversation, an intelligent conversation, that's slightly different. Yeah. And then you get the third one that blurs the lines, because what they do is they pretend they don't understand what you're saying. So they try and wind you up, and then they go, see, told you. And their attempt was really is just playmaking, basically. They just want to keep tweaking and playing. What do you do about trolls, Brandon? Do you just block them like I do?
No, I don't really have a hard block policy. The problem is that I can't keep my mouth shut with politics. It's one of my wife's biggest pet peeves.
I haven't noticed as
I'm sure you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, I'm naturally a capitalist, and so I lean right in almost all business aspects. Yeah. But I'm socially liberal. So I believe in free healthcare and great things that almost every other country have, right? Especially with what you guys have over there. It's insane to me that my father died because he couldn't get health insurance. Things like that just really irk me, because we pay more per person for healthcare than you do in England, and we have worse healthcare. We're 28th in the world, but everyone here is America, we're the best, right? Yeah. So I just try to be in the middle and tell them, look, I want capitalism, but I want some social programs because I think that everyone should have healthcare. And then I get called names from both sides. I get called a communist from the right. I get called a socialist, and then on the other side, I get called a capitalist Nazi from the left. So I'm trolled from both ends. So I'm better off most of the time just keeping my mouth shut. Yeah. But I personally really, 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 really loathe Donald Trump. He's such a terrible human being. He's always been just the epitome of a piece of shit. So, and
Brandon, please don't say what you feel. Just don't mince your words. You're on Seller Sessions. It's fine.
No, and I know that it might alienate people that are Trumpers and stuff. And I'm look, I'm sorry. I'm sure we would get along great. I'm sure that we could be friends. I don't get why you support this guy who's obviously just such an evil, terrible person. That is. But then, they find a way to justify their support of him. And so after the election, I'm sure we're going to be fine. Whoever wins, whatever it is, we'll have to survive whatever idiot is elected, because they're both not great options, honestly.
Yeah. So how do you find, you're running this 8-figure empire. You're launching now 35 products instead of 50. I don't know how the fuck you get the time to sit there and write that shit on there and then take the abuse, then actually respond to it all, and then still get a day's work in. Because I see Anthony, he's at it as well. When he's not happy about something, he goes it, and I say, mate, what are you doing? I see it come down my wall when I'm too busy, too fucking busy.
So what a lot of people don't realize, that I will post something and then disappear for hours at a time. Go work.
But do you know it's going to set them off as well? Do you know?
Yeah, I'll set everybody off and let it build up, and then I'll come back. I'll answer a few things quickly, and then I'm gone for a few more hours. And then I'll see 6 responses, comments, or 10 responses, comments. Look, the bottom line is like I just believe in being a good human being. My father taught me you're put on this earth to do good.
Yeah.
And so I just can't stand when people who are obviously narcissistic pieces of shit are being supported by people, because it kind of tells me a little bit about the person supporting them. Like they're okay with people like that. And I don't know. So yeah, I have trouble keeping my mouth shut about that. My wife absolutely hates my political posts. I end up deleting most of them and for that reason, but
yeah,
lately I just can't help it. So
you know how Brandon has like this secret mission to take down like fraudsters and massive gurus. Trump is the guy at the top of the
he's the end boss.
Yeah. He's the end boss, exactly.
Yeah.
No, the reason I go after those con artists that sell courses that are full of shit too, it's the same motivation for me. It really is. Like I don't like people who are obviously bad, people who are obviously just taking advantage of people. And if I can say anything to help others not be taken advantage of, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of ingrained.
Do you ever have a stage though where you've got all these wars on the table?
Batman shirt for a reason, right? I kind of feel like.
Do you ever get to that stage though where if you've got all of these battles going on, you're trying to get a day's work in, right? You're trying to earn an honest living, and then you've got a battle with the trolls or people with not just trolls but in different views and stuff. Does that not take your energy?
No, I've gotten to a point where I don't let it bother me. You know, I just look. There's going to be people that disagree with me and don't like me, and I've lost a lot of business from it, I'm sure, right? But at the end of the day, I don't need the coaching money.
Yeah.
So I'm not in a position. I make a lot more money selling than I do coaching. So I'm not in a position where I really care. Yeah. And so like it's just like if you have a problem with it, you can unfriend me. If it really personally offends you that I don't like the human being of Donald Trump and that I think he's a really evil person, then you can unfriend me. You don't have to take my course. You don't have to learn how to become a millionaire on Amazon from me. Like it's fine. So I've had a lot of people block me, and I've you know, it's fine. Like, yeah, I can't. I've learned not to hold grudges. I've heard not to. I've learned, you know, just to let it go a long time ago. I think that's just a better policy. So I don't hold grudges, and I'm very easygoing.
No, you have to if you're going to put posts out like that, and not, you know, because I think what happens is some people will do those posts and then take it personally, and then it's a drain on their energy because they don't have agency. So they've got them level of insecurity. So they'll post, and it's like, well, why do you post that stuff if you're not going to be able to stand your ground and get emotionally dysregulated by it? Then you shouldn't be posting that stuff, because ultimately it comes down to, when you look at it, it's not, you know, you do that if you're doing that stuff and it gives you a bad day, like for you it doesn't bother you, right? So you're standing for something. So then when you engaged in that and then you fuck off and do a bit of work and then come back and then answer a few of them and then block them or whatever you do, that's a different story, because you've got agency, right? So you're confident, you're happy with who you are, and you're standing for something that you believe in. But what gets me is when people do it and then they have a meltdown themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's fucking personal talk show.
They're basically trolling themselves at that point.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful looking in the mirror with stuff like that. You know, it's very easy to do that and get caught out. Anthony, I know you like to not stir the pot, but you'd like to stand your ground and stuff. And I've seen you, even with, I won't name you, but one of your former bosses, I've seen you do like long posts. You write these beautiful works of literature in response, and I'm thinking, where does he get the hours in the day? So do you get triggered with stuff like that?
I mean, so I'm probably a little bit more emotional than I like to be. I try to keep that under control. Sometimes my thing is, you know, I mean, yeah, I believe in what I stand for. Otherwise I wouldn't publicly announce it. Yeah. But a lot of times I do that because I feel like it needs to be said. Yeah. But sometimes the hate still kind of sucks. Yeah. And like, for some reason, I still care that people dislike me for no good reason. So it does get to me sometimes. And then I will like go in and respond, and I have to actually rein it in. I have to be like, okay, I'm literally spiraling into a place where I'm not going to be productive if I don't stop right now. So then I have to get off the app and then focus. So, I don't know that I have the same amount of self-control and agency, as you put it, as Brandon does, because I do kind of get pulled over into a dark spot sometimes. But I try. I try. At the same time, though, the reason why I'm still participating in that activity, though, is because the stuff that I post about, I feel like not enough people are talking about it, and it's really important to me anyway, as both, as a business owner and as like, I guess a figure in the industry, for people to understand where I stand.
Yeah.
And what Brandon said was right, and I think it's really cool that he's in a place where it's like, I don't need that money, but I think that I can say this with confidence about both of us. Even if we did need that money, that does not mean that we would ever take a different stance. These are important issues.
No, you can't. I mean, you can't sell out your own principles over money. If you do, then you're wired wrong, I reckon. Because at the end of the day, you can't play money as God. Money's there to support you, but it doesn't. I always say to people, right? Money will fix your money problems, but if you've got a fucked up life, it ain't going to fix that by any stretch of the imagination.
There are definitely a lot of people that we know and that are in this industry that keep a lot of how they feel private, because they don't, like, they play politics with it, right? And they feed to both sides, and then they try to toe the line simply because they don't want to piss off any one side. And I don't know that they're getting rid of any type of what was the way you just put it, where they're compromising with their own beliefs or anything. But I don't know. It's just Anthony and I are built differently, I guess. Like it's kind of like we were built a little different on that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I've said to you, and I've done it, and I'll say it publicly, and I've said it to Liran as well. I remember back in the music industry, I got pretty much blocked because I told one of the most powerful agents in the dance world in Miami, when he was being abusive with two women sit on his lap, I told him I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. But that didn't help, because basically when I got back home, I literally got shut out all the major clubs in England, because that agency was the one that booked in most of those DJs. So for me, it's like, if I've got something to say, one, I say it to your face, and two, I do it behind closed doors. I don't need to use Facebook as a public forum. And that, I think that comes from, because I'd be like you, Brandon, with certain things, but then I look at that and I go, what real benefits did that bring for me? I know that you lost coaching calls and stuff. And the thing is, it's just like, I'll me and you, Brandon, if we had a difference, I'll just pick up the phone and we'll break bread. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't need to do that personally, but what I do respect is when others want to do it and they stand by their convictions, because that's them. I'm only doing it as a 44-year-old person to realize it's like, that really didn't help me that much, because what I should have done to that narcissistic piece of shit was put my arm around him and say, listen, behave yourself, let's have a private call. But because I embarrassed him in front of a lot of the festival promoters in the US and in the UK at the table, and I didn't help myself, because when we went back the next year, he tapped me on the shoulder and offered me a drink, and I turned around and said, what the fuck did I tell you last year? I told you I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire, so fuck off. Again, that didn't help my plight. And there's means and ways of dealing with things. Yeah. So for me, that's why I operate the way I do, is I will speak to people behind closed doors and get the job done that way, But then we're talking about different things. You're talking about politics, right? And then
No, Brandon, you got to call Trump and be like, we need to have a talk privately.
Yeah.
That'll do the trick. I'll drive up to Palm Beach. It's not too far.
Yeah,
I would not.
I tell you what, this call has gone right off the radar, hasn't it? Now we're talking about
off the rails.
It's gone off the rails.
We need Liran to come and save us.
He needs to come in and put us all back in check. Where is he? He's still on that client call, I think.
He's winning clients, man.
So on a happier note, let's get back to Amazon. Outside of Amazon politics and them sending fucking emails to clients, to customers. Next year, Brandon, what are some predictions for you? Obviously, I think Q4 is going to be massive for a lot of people. I know with a lot of our clients as well. I think this is going to be the biggest Q4 in history. And I think there's going to be some winners and losers unless we get control over getting the stock into Amazon and have a good system in place. But what do you see coming in 2021? What have you got big plans lined up then? You expanding off Amazon, etc.?
Yeah, we're definitely going to focus a lot more off of Amazon. This pushed us in that direction. For us, .com has always been our biggest, the best ROI.
Yeah.
So we just focus on that with more products, more SKUs, more accounts. Like, it's just we don't even expand internationally for that reason, right? Like, it's launching and taking a product and going through the whole process again for less money. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense to be off of .com for us as far as we just don't have the manpower or the bandwidth to do it, and we would make less money than just launching more products on .com. Yeah. But now this is definitely forcing us to, go to Walmart, because I just opened up a 3,500 square foot warehouse. I have several containers arriving in the next month, and I'm gonna have inventory sitting there. Why not sell it on Walmart and merchant fulfill it? Why not expand my presence on Shopify? And so we have a full-time ads person. We have a full-time content. We have 3 full-time content people. We have a Shopify site that's up, and we're building a list, and we're driving sales every day now, and at a profitable rate on Shopify. It's pretty good. Our average cart size is around $30.
Yeah,
and we have a nice ROAS. So yeah, it's going to be something that we're going to continue to focus on and grow, and it's less of our focus is going to be on .com. Like I said, I think it's at the end of the day, this is going to bite them in the butt, because they're forcing people to grow competitors.
Yeah. And in terms of what you're doing, because you're dropping so many products, do you get a time to really build up the brand around them? Are you using multiple brands, or are you still treating, like, from my understanding, I don't know what your products are. My understanding, it's more like a portfolio, a stocks portfolio. You're looking for the winners, and then you get rid of any losers and tuck them out the back. So what is your current thought process in terms of launching at scale?
Yeah, I think that we start with the process of, if it makes money, it makes sense. So we create a brand if it doesn't fit one of our current brands. At one point, we were up to 9 brands. I think we have 6 active brands now. And, we can move products from one brand to another, expand what that looks like. And so as we get more SKUs underneath a brand, then we can start to build out some brand identity. It's tough to do brand building with 1 or 3 or 5 SKUs. So we've got, like, our toy brands, we've kind of encompassed into one major brand that is like the parent brand for it. And then that's much easier to do with 50 SKUs, right? It's much easier to do as we continue to focus on growing that. So I don't think that anyone needs to do the brand building from day one. I know that a lot of people out there really promote that heavily and think that it's super, super necessary. I think brand registry is important. I think it's important to get a trademark, but I don't know that you need to be concentrating on building an audience off of Amazon for the purpose of being fans of your brand. Building an audience for launches, building an audience for, pre-launch, like, that's different, right? Yeah. But once you build up enough SKUs in business, then it can make sense to start hiring someone or spending some effort and time and capital on the brand building. Yeah.
Anthony, what do you see in your crystal ball for next year? Any new trends coming through?
So first off, I want to start with a possible conspiracy theory.
Go on then.
Awesome.
We might as well. We've done Trump, narcissism, politics. Let's do conspiracy theorist.
There you go. I don't know if there's any validity to this, but let's just say for a moment, because it is possible, we're talking about Amazon. Let's just say for a moment that Amazon is not going to ease up on these restrictions because it was a concerted effort on their part to try and make it so that their brands and their vendor relationships are the ones that are most sold and available on their platform, right? Like, that's a big move, and that would be a bold thing and probably crazy, but it's possible. So if that is the case, then we're not going to see a return to normal. We're going to see Amazon becoming the place where you go and you buy Amazon stuff, and everybody's going to have to expand, which I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think we're going to probably end up seeing either a new player or an old player with some new tricks come and really become like a real contender, because Amazon hasn't had that. But because of the pandemic, now e-commerce is finally starting to grow at the rate that it probably should have been all this time. And that's going to force new players and new competition into the game. I'm interested to see if that happens this next year. It might take an additional year, but sometime in the next 2 years, I definitely think it's going to. And I'm really interested to see who that ends up being, how that turns out. The other prediction I have is we're going to start seeing a lot more social purchase capabilities. So this stuff has already existed in Asia forever. And America has been really trigger shy on opening up that kind of stuff because we've been really kind of afraid of the whole, mobile payments. I mean, everybody's still afraid of fraud, and we have some really talented hackers over here. But I think people are starting to look past that, especially as Gen Z gets older and they're starting to make their own purchases. And as such, we're going to start seeing those features move over here. TikTok, Douyin in China already has the ability to see a TikTok and click it and go, I want to buy that, right? We saw Instagram shoppable posts is a somewhat recent development. We're going to start seeing a lot more of that. And that's going to change the way marketing's done. Marketing is going to become a lot more organic, social. So 2020 to 2021 or into 2021, after the world stops ending, should be really interesting on that front.
Yeah. I agree 100% with that. We look at China as the trendsetter for e-commerce because they are so much further ahead than us. They skipped computers and desktop computers. They went straight to mobile, and they also didn't have large retail chains like we do here, brick and mortar chains. So e-commerce from a branding perspective and influencer marketing was far more developed over there. So you can kind of get an idea of where we're moving, and we were moving in the same direction as them. And the pandemic did nothing but accelerate that. And so TikTok, that's owned by the Chinese company and has that Chinese version that you mentioned. They do have the ability to, as an influencer, create a store of products, and you can buy not only what's featured in that video, but anything else you throw up in there in your store, and sell other people's products. And there are popular people. There are people that have never had a video go viral that all of a sudden get a viral video and make $1 million from one video because they generate sales through their video. And they're just drop shipping or linking to someone else and getting an affiliate. It's not even them having to do the development and everything. And it's going to be very interesting for sellers on Amazon to create products and try to partner with people that are good at creating viral videos. Influencer marketing is going to be tremendous. And I think you touched on it briefly with Messenger and Shopify. Messenger as a platform is probably going to be a major competitor for Amazon. I think TikTok's going to be a major competitor, against Amazon as far as a e-commerce platform. Shopify, right now, Shopify is just really pillared. You've got one store. But if they bring everybody together into one marketplace, they've got a tremendous amount of buying power. And if they make that easy with some kind of fulfillment option, then they're going to be a major player against Amazon. And then you've got Walmart, who turned all the back of their stores in their entire country to fulfillment centers. They're going to be, growing.
Now,
so
for Walmart with grocery, because they have cold storage. Amazon doesn't have.
Yeah, Amazon,
Walmart,
what they're doing is they're trying to take as much property as possible to try to keep Amazon fresh. And Amazon, they've got Whole Foods, right? They've also got they're taking all the properties from Sears that are going out of business and different major stores at malls that are going out of business, and they're turning those into fulfillment centers. They'll probably have refrigerated sections there where they could do cold and food and more common stuff. So I think, Amazon's trying to keep their advantage. Their advantage has always been their fulfillment. Their advantage has always been their prime delivery. But I think that a lot of these other companies are coming for them. And all they did was hurt themselves by screwing with us and being able to send 200 units in and screwing with how much space we get. I understand getting rid of the people that sent in 10,000 books 5 years ago because they were doing book RAs. Charge them a bunch and get rid of those guys. But if I'm doing $10 million in sales, I shouldn't have any limits on your site. Like it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. But I mean, that game's played with everyone, though. They've drawn a firm line. Could you imagine, though, that if they did have an upper echelon and people running these businesses, they'll probably try hold at Amazon to rent. I'm not saying you, but they'll probably try and hold Amazon to ransom because they think they can. They'll try and do the power play thing with them. But as Amazon set a drawn like a line in the sand, and that no one gets to fuck with them, I think that's what's happened. They just put the steel wall up, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that they've done their best to try to corner the market, but the movement in social marketing and social e-commerce is beyond them. They've failed many times to do their live platform, to try to sell live, to try to do viral videos, to try to do content in that aspect. And I think that they're not built that way. Whereas TikTok, Facebook, Messenger, like those places are perfect for it.
Instagram. What I understand is like why in understanding that, why would they lower affiliate referrals fees? Like it almost seems like I mean, is Amazon just getting so cocky that they just think that they don't need these things? Because like to me, it just seems like bad move after bad move, right? Restriction of inventory, lowering referrals. Now all the affiliates, they're looking for other programs. Yeah, they have Linktree.
It was very short-sighted of them for sure. They were probably looking at some executive probably looked at, holy shit, we paid out 42 billion in referral fees, or some ungodly amount of money, and said, well, we need to cut that. Without thinking about what the repercussions of that are, because if I can pay an affiliate more to drive them to my Shopify site, where are they going to drive them, to my Shopify site or to Amazon? It's clear.
Don't forget the decision making and their confidence in their decision making, because it was only a few months ago that only essential goods could be sent in, and they're the greatest quarter of all time. Maybe it gives them more confidence to play even at higher stakes there, like you said, with the restrictions and everything else. Maybe some of their bigger bets, if they went the other way, maybe they'd be a bit more courteous to the sellers themselves.
Who knows? But they're definitely giving a very good hand to intelligent competitors. Because all it takes is somebody like Rakuten could come in and be like, you know what? We're going to start paying out crazy affiliates and just blow this thing up. And Amazon would be like, where the hell did they come from? And I mean, it's not like they're a tiny player, right? These guys have been international, growing year after year for however long. So I just, I've always said that Amazon Tower will topple one day, but I feel like they're not helping their situation at all with some of the decisions they've made recently.
Yeah, you have companies with hundreds of billions of dollars in cash sitting on the sidelines that are trying to figure out how to get into e-commerce, right? You have Microsoft, you have Apple. They would love. iTunes was one of the best things that ever happened to Apple, one of the most profitable divisions and things they've ever done. And so you think about like now with streaming services, iTunes is becoming less of a thing, but they would love to move into the e-commerce space, the social e-commerce space. I thought Microsoft buying TikTok was a huge threat for Amazon. Yeah. I thought that would be, they're the people that could pull it off and turn that TikTok e-commerce into a major player.
Yeah, well, they didn't want to be owned though. They found a way around all that by finding a trusted partner, so they didn't have to sell. I mean, it's smart on their part for sure, 100%.
Cool. Should we? I don't think Leon's going to be able to join us. We're coming up to the hour now. Should we sign off?
Everybody, all your questions to Liran, right? Like we set it up.
Yeah.
Now send your questions.
We're waiting for him to turn up.
Here, I'll give you his cell phone number. You can just text him.
Give me his cell phone number out on the show. Yeah, good idea. No, I'll get him to fill in some of the gaps next week. But gents, it's been wonderful again to see you. I hope you're staying safe in COVID and you have a cracking Q4 as well.
Thank you.
Brandon, best way that people can reach you?
Seller-systems.com. My Facebook public group is Seller Systems Succeeding on Amazon FBA. Either way, Instagram, you can follow me there. I think it's byoung_Amazon. I'm not on TikTok yet. I'm leaving that experiment up to you. So I appreciate it.
Cool. Anthony, no worries. Anthony, best way to reach you.
Anthony at signalytics.ai, Signalytics user group, Anthony Lee Facebook page. Really, if you get like super lazy, you could just Google Anthony Lee Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, what's the TikTok? You got to give people your TikTok to follow.
Okay, my handle on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of it is at Anthony Lee 991.
991.
911. No,
I like.
991.
I like.
I have no idea where that number is from.
Consistency across all your platforms. That's super important that you have that consistent brand and name across all your platforms. I think of that.
Cool. Gents, thanks for joining us. Guys, we're back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. BST, part 3 of Life After Exit. Tomorrow we'll bring in Michelle Venton, and then on Thursday we're doing an in-depth profile of Destiny Wishon. Take care of your family. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.